Welcome to the Best Fork and Friend podcast. Y'all ready for the show tonight? Yeah, I'm ready. All right. I want you to meet all my friends. Let's meet them. We're best fork and friends. We're not spooning or knifing. We're forking, not fighting. We're talking about forks you use at the dinner table, baby. We're not spooning or knifing. We're forking, not fighting. Yeah.
Tommy's here. Heather's here. Jesse's here. I'm here. Branson's hanging out, listening. And this is Heather's first podcasting experience here at Branson's place. And so this is a first for her here.
On Best Forking Friends.
Best Forking Friends. That's kind of the working title we're working with right now. And have you ever done a podcast before, Heather?
No.
But you have recorded on the radio, and I want to ask about your experience with that again a little bit later. But Tommy's here. Tommy's he helped us. He did a little recording for us a few days ago, and we asked him a couple questions then. But Heather, this is a great opportunity for you to catch up with Tommy, and then we'll just let the conversation go from there. So you asked earlier about some of Tommy's favorite things about Arizona. I didn't hear them, so would you mind repeating those for me, Tommy?
Sure. I was saying one of my favorite parts of Arizona, and it'd be one of the first things you'd notice if you visited from here, because I think we were talking earlier, like it's a lot flatter out here. Out in Arizona, there's quite a bit more sky, if that makes sense. It just seems like you can see more of the sky, like in a way that doesn't really make sense. How is there more sky? But I just feel like the view is kind of expanded. And
Interesting.
the geography, there's a lot more diversity in the geography. So I love going on hikes out there because you could go on a mountain and then you can go on some hills over here like 2 miles away somewhere else, or go hike around a lake, or
We have to hike around cornfields around here.
yeah.
Or, there's some woods.
Actually, I just went on a hike. It was a cave.
Where?
in Columbia, Illinois.
I don't know where Columbia is exactly.
It's closer to the river. It's near Millstadt, if you've ever heard of Millstadt.
I've heard of
Illinois.
Millstadt.
Yep.
Yeah. So there was a lot of different geography there, and it was karst, Karst, was the whole geography. Like, it basically is well-drained soil with limestone underneath, so it causes a lot of interesting effects with the land. There were sinkhole ponds and just different things that you don't see every day. Didn't see any caves, but that's my goal next time.
That's really cool. I wish I was a little more, I don't know, I wish I sought out nature more than what I do now. Sounds like that's kind of what you went on, a little adventure.
Yeah, so I have the All Trails app, which is a free app, and you can look up trails by proximity, filter by distance, ease, if you want an easy, moderate, or hard trail. There's also a version you can pay for, but I don't. So, but Tommy, back to your point about the sky and being able to see more at night, there's actually something I read about called Dark Sky, which is like a community founded just to protect the sky from light pollution and raise awareness about light pollution and incorporate more communities into turning down the lights at night, like you said your neighborhood does.
Yeah, it's a thing out there. I hadn't paid too much attention to it until the neighborhood I live in. It's a neighborhood called Groom Creek. It's a couple miles, maybe 2 miles outside of the town. You look at the spelling, it's Prescott, but all the locals say Prescott, like Triscuit, but Prescott.
Yeah,
I always thought it was Prescott, so I'm glad that you...
I've heard Prescott.
Oh,
I have
well,
to.
I had never heard
Yeah.
Prescott. I was just like,
I have
Prescott.
Kinda like-
I'm not from around here.
Is it KZ, Illinois?
Oh, like
Not
Casey?
Casey.
You mean where all the big stuff is?
There was a girl we used to work with at IGA, Sam McNerlin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember her.
KZ and not Casey.
McNerlin. That name sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
She taught me about geocaching, actually.
Oh.
So
Do you geocache still?
sometimes, yeah. It's fun.
Just you, or do you go with like Brad or anybody else?
Just me sometimes, but just depending who I'm with, if I can talk anybody into it.
That's cool. So one thing that was surprising to me, this is just my ignorance with Arizona. Like when I think Arizona, I think desert. And I see Tommy in one of his shorts or one of his YouTube videos and it's like snowing. I'm like, I thought you lived in Arizona. And he's like, oh yeah, it snows out here too where he lives. So like, do you get all of the, the seasons like we do where you live?
Yeah,
Oh.
we get all 4 seasons. It's just as sporadic as it is over here, where it's just like, oh, today it's warm, tomorrow it's winter again, then it's spring, then it's raining, then it's snowing. I'm starting to think that's a universal thing because everywhere I've been, it's just like, oh, the weather's crazy here. I'm like, everywhere I've been to, the weather is crazy. I don't think there's a normal set pattern like, oh, it's spring exactly for 200 whatever days or.
Yeah.
That was a large number. I don't think spring lasts that long, but
No, that's cool though. That's really cool. I want to go to Arizona someday. I want to, like, there's a lot of great parks out there, like in Utah and Colorado. And I've been to Colorado, but I don't know. Just seems like there's a lot of stuff to see. So let's talk a little bit about places we would like to go that maybe we haven't been to yet. So I said I want to go to like the Grand Canyon and stuff. Babe, what are some of the places you want to go to?
Just in the U.S. or outside of the U.S.?
Yeah, we
too?
can stay in the U.S. for right now.
Okay. Well, I've never been to the Grand Canyon, so yeah, that would be one of my bucket list things too.
Have you been there, Tommy?
yeah, a couple times since I've been in the area. It's pretty breathtaking, you know. Use a generic phrase there. But it's funny, people in Arizona are just like, oh yeah, let's just go look at the big hole in the ground. Like they're just like they could care less about it. But something funny I've noticed every time I've been there, there's always a ton of Japanese tourists. Every
tourists.
time I've been there, there's always just like 40, 50 people from Japan just being the typical tourist, you know, wearing sandals with tube socks and just like taking pictures of everything. Like it's
With
It
their
reminds
fanny packs.
Beavis and
Yep.
Butthead do America.
yep,
Go
yep.
visit the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, but I would. Oh, and recently, well, not really recent. It's been like several years now, but they added something called the Skywalk, where it's this large glass bridge that they put over, so you can walk over and look down.
Nope.
I've seen a picture
Yep.
of it.
I
Yeah,
can't.
there was a whole lot of nope for me too.
Can't do that.
It's.
Did you do it?
I did. But
Would you do it?
I would
Heather?
do it.
Heather, you
I
are
would-
more adventurous than
I
I
would
am.
do it. I'd be afraid, but I would do it.
The fun thing about it is you have to wear these little socks over your shoes, so they give you these little goofy little.
So you're even more
Slippers.
slippery.
Oh my god, dude.
Well, you don't want to mess up the glass, so you're over
Yeah,
there.
I
like,
definitely
you feel
don't want to
like
mess
you're-
up the glass. That means it's gonna crack and break, and I'm gonna die.
I did the
It'd
glass.
be a cool way to die, though.
Was it the glass bottom in Willis Tower in Chicago?
That's another bunch of nope for me.
Yeah.
Like it was bad enough we went up in the arch, and if you've been at the top of the arch, you can.
It sways.
It does sway, and you like the windows that you look out, you are leaning over, and so you can see almost straight down below.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
like it.
Have you've never been up in the arch?
You know, I've been here most of my life, and I've never been in the arch.
I did it one time, and it was really a good experience. I would recommend it. Have you been up in there, Heather?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went on a school trip.
Nice. So how old were you whenever you went up? Do you remember?
Maybe 16, 17,
Yeah.
high school.
Fun. Man. So Heather, where would you go places that you haven't been yet? Like any ideas?
I would like to visit Washington State, Oregon State, Oregon.
Pacific Northwest, yes.
Right, right. The Pacific Northwest, I've never been. Idaho, even. I've heard it's very pretty. I've been to California, Colorado, but there's a lot of national parks that I'd like to visit. That's on my bucket list, to visit all of them. Haven't been to very many. So there's some that, like some specific hikes that you have to win a lottery to go on. And
Really?
a girl we went to high school with actually just, was it this year or last summer, she told me that her and her boyfriend won the lottery to go on one of these like limited time.
Who was that?
Rachel Brewer.
You know what? I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I do see that her and her boyfriend or
All
her
those
husband.
beautiful photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is Bryce Canyon National Park is one I'd like to go to. It's in Utah, and I was reading one of the lesser visited ones. So just, I guess, I don't know, less touristy, less visited, less jammed up. Sometimes you get that. So
I would like to see Utah too. Washington and Oregon are both really pretty.
yeah,
So you won't be disappointed.
I always heard it's expensive. So I don't know. I think that's just a matter of saving the money. But
Sure.
It's worth it. It's really nice out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Sizemore and I went out on our way to California. We drove through Utah, and we hiked up, we hiked up where they filmed Star Wars or Star Trek. Sorry,
Star Trek.
Star
Okay.
Trek. It's a specific like range of rocks, and him and I hiked up there. That was really cool. So
I miss Mike Sizemore.
he kind of ignited my love of travel and adventure.
Where's he at now?
California.
He lives in California. He's an air traffic controller out there.
Yeah.
For which airport?
It's not LAX.
Is it what's the other big airport that's not LAX? It's I flew into it. It's another city that's slightly north.
I can look and see if he told me. I can't remember.
And are him and Cass still together?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever actually met Cass in person, but I've always loved Mike. Mike and I were in Scouts together.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is I didn't have a lot of friends in Scouts because the year I moved into Boy Scouts, there was a second troop that formed, and almost everybody went to that one except for me. And so there was like nobody my age. And it didn't matter. 1 year older, like a lot of times the older kids would still like look down on you. And I went to Mulberry, so oh, you're dumb because you didn't go to Greenville. But Mike was like really accepting. But Mike he was Mike, but he was a younger version of himself. So like I could joke with him and he'd just kind of have this like eye roll face, but he'd still hang out with me, and we still hung out and had really good chemistry. And I remember we went to the Mount Rushmore National Park and Pikes Peak, Devil's Tower. Like we had this really big, like almost 2-week trip, and he was like my best friend on that trip. And like it was that moment where like I really appreciated Mike. And I know me and you and him went to Chicago together one time. I know you went on more trips with him, but that was just like a day trip that we took, and it was really cool.
Yeah. He's hands down my favorite person to travel with. Just overall knowledge of the area. Just he's a great driver. People trust him. He's always the go-to. If someone needs a photo taken, they're going to go to Mike. Say, hey, can you take our picture?
Yeah.
I randomly met up with him in New York City when I went there on a trip with some college friends from SIU Edwardsville. So we traveled from Edwardsville to New York, and Mike happened to be in New York City, and we met up with him and went to Katz's Delicatessen, had a pastrami sandwich.
Dang.
And then just like he took us around because he knew the area, of course, but he knows all the spots, touristy and non-touristy, and he'll get you where you need to go.
That is
That's
sick.
cool.
Babe, have you ever met Mike Sizemore?
I think I met him once or twice.
He was in Jeremy's wedding, I think. Was that right?
I'm
Do you
pretty
remember?
sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
Because if he was, then that would have been a time you met him. But I don't know many times after that. Because I think I don't know. I know he was in
I
St.
feel like
Louis
there
a
was
lot.
one other time that he was in town.
Well, I think his family still lives in town,
Yeah.
I think his mom lives on Winter Street.
which isn't
So-
very far from here. It's like
yeah,
a couple streets like that way.
a lot of fond
I don't know.
memories there. Used to go
She's
over there
such a
and
nice
watch
lady.
movies.
I remember watching The Office over there for the first
Yeah.
time, and Mike was an incredible Guitar Hero player. Like he was one of
Oh,
the
and he
best.
also had
remember
Rock
that,
Band.
too.
He brought Rock Band over to our house. Remember,
Yeah.
he just like, you can just keep it here.
Yeah,
And his
yeah.
brother is married to Chris's sister, right?
His brother's a pilot. I've been up in the plane with Mike and David before.
David, yeah.
It's really cool.
But I'm right, right? David
Yeah.
and
Nicole.
and Nicole are married, and they
They
have
have
like
two kids.
Two kids.
Yeah, a boy and a girl.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
man, that's so cool. That is so cool. Sorry, we're bonding a little bit over like some memories. I know that you haven't. You came a little after that, babe. So
That's fine.
catching up a little bit there. No, Mike was always, and he had like good jobs, so like he didn't mind while we were poor. Like
He always picked up the tab.
he did. We didn't ask him to do it a lot, but he didn't care. He
When-
just liked having good people to hang out with.
Yeah. When we went to, Jeremy and Mike and I went on a Northeast road trip when I was 16, actually. My parents let me go. Mike and Jeremy were only 18. And
Wow.
we visited New York, Vermont, Pennsylvania. We went to Scranton and the Steamtown Mall. We
Oh my
hiked
God, I'm
in
so
the
jealous.
Poconos. Yeah, we went to Niagara Falls and New York City. And yeah, that was just a really cool trip. I remember going in that kind of, I don't know, Mike and Jeremy were kind of like my big brothers, and he paid for most of the things, the hotels, and it was his car that we took, and always a very generous person, and would do it in a way that was like, oh, you're poor, I got this, but in a joking, like, I don't know, he's got a different sense of humor, but
I
Very
know what
good
you're
guy.
talking about. Like you just take it with a grain of salt. He doesn't actually mean it. It's just the way he communicates. Like, I don't know. I can appreciate it. I know what you're
I
talking.
think we all worked at IGA at the time, and he worked at TSA at the airport in St. Louis.
Yeah, that was before he actually
Mm-hmm.
finished. Did he have to go to school to be an air traffic controller?
Yeah. He was in Oklahoma for a while, and then Roswell for a while.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been to Roswell? I know that's New Mexico, but
I have been to Roswell.
was that on your way over to Arizona? Because isn't it like New Mexico, then Arizona, then like Nevada?
My geography, my map
Then
maybe I'm-
California. I
isn't
think
maybe-
you're right.
my
It's
map
something like
knowledge
that.
isn't very good, but it wasn't passing through there. Is actually a road trip with my dad a long time ago.
Tom Senior.
Yep, Tom Senior,
Oh, sorry, Tomothy.
Tomothy.
Yeah.
Timothy Senior. Yep, the big T. But I don't really. It wasn't. There's not really anything spectacular about Roswell other than there was a UFO here maybe one time a long time ago, and we're just gonna market the crap out of that and just like, look, alien balloons and. Which reminds me,
Yeah? Got a story?
no. No, dang it. I was just remembering like they had that whole people storming Area 51 thing
Oh,
a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Did you sign up to do it?
No, I mean it was
Well, I didn't know if maybe you did it just to.
no. To me it was always. It's apparent that it was like a joke, but it was funny how.
There were people who did show up.
But like the military took it seriously.
Yeah, they did.
I would
which-
think they'd almost have to, though.
Because
Because
I
it's
mean,
like
Yeah.
a threat on the base, right?
but if you looked at their battle plan, they had a map of their battle plan, and it was 3 different divisions of people. So first you had the Naruto runners. So you had all these kids that were supposed to be the Naruto runners. They would come in and flank on the sides. They were the distraction. They were
and they had to run with their arms behind their back, right? That's the
Yes.
Naruto
Down.
run.
Head down.
So they had the Naruto runners, which someone pointed out that if the military was taking this seriously, someone had to explain to a general with a straight face what a Naruto run was. So like, sir, it's like this.
Sorry.
So you had the Naruto runners,
Okay, all right.
and then
continue.
up on the hills you had the rock throwers. So you just had people throwing rocks, and then the main force was the Kyles. And the Kyles would drink a lot of Monster energy drinks. And this was straight up the battle plan for storming Area 51. So it's like, how can you take this seriously?
That's priceless. I love that.
This is our reality. This is where we live.
Drink a lot of Monster energy drink. Holy cow!
Was
That
it
was
only people named Kyle too? Like that was the only qualification.
Yeah, it had to be someone who was a Kyle, someone who
that's like
gets
a term.
mad and punches through drywall.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
Wears
Yeah.
affliction t-shirt.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Heather gets it. Yeah, it's just like an internet term,
Okay. I get it.
like a Karen.
Yeah,
is, you know,
I get it. It's
but they
the-
also have like
A
you know a
Chad.
Chad.
Chad,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense.
that's another one. Oh,
Wears
man.
all the attire from like circa early 2000s with the beaded like butt pockets of the jeans. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
The rhinestones.
The rhinestone jeans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heather's,
Spiked everything.
Heather, yeah, I miss those.
Do you like those?
No,
They were really
especially
popular,
not
though.
on men. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's people still rocking them out there too.
no,
It's
no
crazy.
shame. It looks good on some people.
Some people can rock it,
It's true.
not me. Not me. Give me the.
I'm gonna get you a pair for
Give me
Christmas.
some khaki. Give me some cargo shorts. That's I'm into that.
My
Yeah.
friend Denise, her husband has
D-nice?
he has a specific pair of khaki pants that he wears on flights. They call them his flight pants.
Yeah.
And every picture she sends me when they're going on a trip, he has this same pair of pants.
Well, hold on though. Hold on. I'm gonna defend this guy. I think a little bit. I'm defending it with a question. How do you dress when you go on a flight, Tommy?
Let's see. Well, when I came in, a couple days ago, it's usually for comfort, but I'll dress a little bit nicer than I normally do.
Yeah.
So I'll just have on a button shirt over my t-shirt and be like, yeah, see, I look nice now.
Gotcha. What about you, Heath?
Typically for comfort, depending on how long the flight is. If it's just a couple hours, maybe I'll wear jeans, but sometimes like sweats, something stretchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something
Jess?
easy for TSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for real, Jess.
Yeah. It depends on what I'm traveling for. So
That's true. Let's say just for pleasure. We're going on vacation.
vacation, comfort, yeah. And ease of TSA too, because you don't have to take a belt off if you've got just leggings on or whatever.
Slip on
Flip,
shoes.
Yeah,
slip on shoes, like
for
dudes
real,
or
yeah.
slides or something.
Yeah. But if it's for work, I mean, sometimes I've had to dress out in my meeting outfit.
I mean,
just
that's a
traveling,
different.
because I'm going into
Yeah.
a meeting as soon as I get there. There's no time to change.
So I'm the same way. I like comfort, and
Cargo shorts.
well, maybe. I mean, I like basketball shorts too if it's warm enough outside,
I was making a joke.
and then like a hoodie if it's colder. But the reason I ask is your friend who has the flight pants. They must be comfy.
I guess. I don't know. We kind of have an inside. I guess it's not inside anymore. We kind of make fun of
It's
him
an
a little
outside
bit.
joke now.
So we're making fun of. I'm making fun of a guy. I have no idea who it is. So there we go.
It's okay.
No consequences.
No consequences. Gotcha.
It's all in good fun. I mean, it's a pair of khakis. I wouldn't think they'd be too comfortable, but it's been a trend. They've been together for quite a few years now, and I've seen those pants a lot.
She sounds hideous. Jake from State Farm with his khaki pants. Yeah. Just, I wanted to clarify that on the mic so your friend is not like, bitch. Just a joke.
Babe, your mic sounds really good.
Yeah, you like it?
Sounds, yeah. So we just bought this mic, the one that she's using. And we're trying to like slowly upgrade everything. So now the next thing is I got to get a longer cable for my mic, and we got to do a little bit of management. But we're actually pretty close to what I would consider to be practically like perfect.
Our dream setup.
Our practically dream setup. So Branson uses this mixer at his computer, so he'll have to bring it back and forth every once in a while. And this is Branson's mic for his computer, so we've been bringing that in. But we'll probably get another one of those to set up here, so he doesn't have to keep bringing them back and forth. Yeah. And Branson, I'll let you know, like, she's the only one rocking a condenser, and I don't hear any humming. Do you guys hear any?
No.
Not in my headphones. Like, I hear the fan, but that's not coming through, I don't think. So sounds pretty good.
I got
to
the
be
condom
honest.
on it too, so you know.
The condom? Oh, the filter.
Yeah. Well,
So Heather, what other questions like are you like wanting to ask Tommy, like, since he's been gone? He's been gone like almost 10 years since he's been back here. Or is there anything you want to tell him, like, you've been involved in or what you're doing now?
We were talking a little bit about just my job, but that's not really who I am, I guess, or who anybody is, what their job is. But yeah, it's what I spend a lot of my time doing. And we were talking about some urban agriculture grants and doing some reviewing of those for volunteer. There's an office in St. Louis that potentially maybe I'll want to go work at, but I did the internship with the zoo. I don't know.
Oh, I remember
if
you did that.
even know about that, Tommy, but
No, I didn't.
when I was in college, 2013 through 14, I did a joint internship with the St. Louis Zoo, and it was National Museums Association, something. It's been a long time, but it was a federal grant that funded this, and it was a pollinator project. So we raised awareness about different pollinators and how they contribute to the food that we eat and the lives that we live, and how we know the world today wouldn't exist without pollinators. And that's bees, bats, moths, butterflies, wasps, even though they're annoying. But yeah, they pollinate our food, and 2 out of 3 bites of food that we eat are from pollinators. So
Wow. I didn't know that it was that big.
mm-hmm.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah. So
Uh-oh.
can you hear me?
No, you cut out there for a second. I wonder if that cable...
Hello?
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you try pushing that into the mic again, like at the bottom
cord.
of the base?
Yeah.
Like, push it back in. Maybe it just kind of got loose there.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know.
So
Weird.
yeah, the internship, it was a group of us from St. Louis, and there was a group of people from Tucson, Arizona, and they worked out of the Tohono Chul Museum there, and a group of kids from Nairobi, Kenya that came, and we all did the same project, but in our different regions. So we made a community garden and then made like a house for bees on the garden site. And our project was based out of Florissant, Missouri. There's a 3-acre site there near the St. Ferdinand Shrine. We fabricated this plan for how we were going to utilize the space with a community garden, a pollinator, like centric idea, and like a foraging forest where anyone could go pick fruits off the trees. We really wanted it to be a part of the community and something that grew after the project was over, which I think it has done. I visited several times after the project ended, and it seemed like they've kept it up pretty well, and it's continued to be a part of their community. So that was something cool that I did since you were gone. It was called the Pause Project, Pause, and we actually designed an exhibit that was implemented at the zoo for a while. So that was cool to kind of see our ideas come to life and be a part of that so many people go and visit every year.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
really
I didn't
proud.
realize
Wow.
that you did that.
Yeah, I was really proud to be a part of that for sure. Once in a lifetime opportunity.
It makes a lasting impact on our the world, really, in the long run.
We got to meet the teams from Arizona and Africa. The people from Kenya came to visit St. Louis, so we toured them around the city for a day. And they ate toasted raviolis. We ate Kenyan
Delicious.
food. I tried goat for the first time. It was
Was it
pretty
good?
I liked it. Yeah, so
Where do you like you got goat meat from around here and then they cooked it, or
no, it was like just a cultural experience. So we went to different like Kenyan things, and they went to just different traditional St. Louis things.
where did you do the Kenyan things?
It was the restaurant. We mostly just went to the restaurant that I remember. We saw like different. They showed different presentations of how they were working on the project in their area. So we saw that, and I think we did something else. Maybe just toured the zoo together.
Yeah.
Which was a cool experience yeah. And then the restaurant, I can't remember what it was called, but it was an Ethiopian restaurant in St. Louis. So they knew we were coming. We had a reservation ahead of time, and we just got to try a bunch of different courses. I remember they brought out a fish that still had the eyes.
Oh,
Still had the eyes in it. And
I
one
don't
of
know
the
why that's
girls
being
ate
so
it.
weird.
She ate the eyes out of the
The
fish.
eyes? Did they say that that's the best part?
I don't know why that one's being weird. It's never weird.
Oh, I can't hear you now. I wonder if it's the cable or if it's the mic. Yeah, we might need to get two cables.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. She was raised in China. So that was part of her culture. She was on the St. Louis team.
So it
but-
wasn't a Kenyan who ate the
Right.
eyes.
It was a girl on our team from St. Louis, but she was raised in China before she came here, and she said that they always do that, and that was the best part. Really kind of just said gelatinous, but good for you. And
Jesse's face right now is just like, y'all can have the eyes. I don't
I'm
need
a-
it.
I'm a texture person. I would
Yeah.
not be able to do that.
me too.
I mean, I like sushi, but I don't want to.
I was pushing it, trying the goat. So
Now, if they said, here's some meat, and they didn't tell you what it was, like, would you still try it?
I'd have to smell it first.
Yeah.
If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So that's a good segue into another topic. Foods that we've ate that maybe or tried that maybe are unique, or foods that people don't like to eat a lot of, or maybe just like a food challenge that you've done. So Heather, you've ate goat. Have you ate anything else that's like bizarre, weird, crazy?
I really like pickled beets. It's not super crazy, but a lot of people don't like them. They're very
Pickled
polarizing.
So
You either like them or you don't.
beets are kind of sweet though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's nature's candy.
Right.
They're so good.
See, I think of two things when I think of beets. I think of Doug and I think of Dwight from The Office.
That moment kind of made me like reminisce about the SNL. Like, there hasn't been a cherry in my muffin for. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The delicious dish.
The way you said that they're nature's candy. It just gave me like
Nature's
a
candy.
flashback of the SNL skit with Betty White, and they were doing like a talk radio.
Well, okay, so it's Molly Shannon and what is the other lady's name? I can't think of her name, but they're like two ladies on a radio show.
Rachel Dratch.
No, it's not Rachel. It's another one. And they're constantly interviewing people about like the foods that they make. And so you're talking about the one with Betty White, but the one I think most people know is the Sweaty Balls.
Yeah, with Alec
Alec Baldwin, where he's got like these like, I don't know,
They're just
some
like
sort of dessert-y.
chocolate balls.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna try my and his name is Sweaty. That's why he calls it my sweaty balls. So it's always like super innuendo-y.
Yeah. And Betty White's was muffins. She bakes muffins, And so they ask her questions about the muffin.
Yeah, she's like, they're eating her muffin, you know?
Is that a cherry I taste in your muffin? Oh, honey, there hasn't been a cherry in my muffin since 1927.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, it just gave me like that feeling.
So, babe, what are some foods that you've had that are like unique or bizarre or crazy?
Well, I have tried Ethiopian food, and I
did?
did not like it because it does not taste good coming back up after you've had a night of drinking all night long.
Did you puke?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
When did you have Ethiopian food?
It was a girls' trip to D.C.
Okay, I feel like this is a Katie inspired thing.
Yeah, it was
Dumb.
Katie and Valerie, and
Why would you want to eat food like that you're like, I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong, if I'm on vacation for fun, I might try something, but I want to enjoy everything I'm
see,
eating.
they all like it. Like they've all had Ethiopian food.
Yeah?
It was a first for me, so I
Mm.
was like, okay, I'll try it. And the
you
meat
remember
and
what you
stuff was
ordered?
fine. I don't remember what they ordered.
Samosas.
Samosas?
They're like little pastries filled with meat and vegetables.
Yeah, it was one of those like grab sampler things. So it was like a few different meat things, some veggie stuff, and then those it's like dough kind of like the bread that you grab the food with.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff
Mm.
like makes me want to gag just thinking about it because it's
You
not,
get bread and then you use the bread as
yeah,
like
you
tongs.
use your hands to eat, like you don't
Mhm.
use utensils. So
Yeah.
you pick up everything with your hands.
Huh.
And the bread is like your device of picking up the food.
Huh.
But it's like a spongy bread. Like it's not
Mhm.
like what we would think of as bread. It's like it's a different texture and it's kind of wet.
It's wet,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
moist.
Yeah, it was
But like, okay, but is it moist like
because you're a
cake?
texture person too, right, Heather? So it
Yeah,
was
I
it was
can't
a
even do
challenge.
bananas.
Yeah, it was a challenge for me.
I like
so
bananas.
I like bananas too, but they kind of leave like a filmy taste in my mouth. I
Sure.
don't really like that.
So you've had Ethiopian food. Anything else?
That's probably the wildest, food that I've ever tried.
Okay. Tommy, what about you?
8 canned cat food. I was curious.
You were curious like
did
a
you eat
cat?
a whole
Yeah.
can or did you just
No, I didn't eat the whole can.
one bite
Yeah, one bite. Cause
and you swallowed it?
I swallowed it.
And what did it taste like?
It's very bland.
Bland.
It's
Really?
just wet chalk. I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
taste like
It's not.
beef stew.
Does it taste like meat? Was it meaty?
It's just bland. It was just, I don't know, uninteresting taste. I don't know why the cats love it so much, but I thought it was pretty bland. And then I tried a second bite after I put salt on it.
So you added salt. Like, let's see. Maybe this is all right.
Maybe
try
it's
it
seeded
again.
salt. And it didn't help it at all.
Wow. Do you remember what brand it was?
Oh, it's one of the more known brands.
like Fancy Feast?
Fancy
I
Feast.
think it was Fancy Feast. Yeah.
One
Actually,
very
I think it was.
fancy. Bland feast, huh?
Did
Yep.
you put it in a fancy glass dish like they do in the commercial?
Oh
No,
yeah.
it
Remember
might
they,
have-
they could like ding the side of the glass, like ding,
Yeah,
ding.
ding, ding,
I
ding.
want chicken. I want liver. That's me on mix.
That's okay. We're on the same. We're on the same wavelength there. Yeah, like they're in the neighborhood.
So
Anything?
you guys,
Yeah.
oh, talking about different foods, there's actually the Festival of Nations in St. Louis, I believe, at the Tower Grove Park. And you can try all kinds of different foods. Sorry about my mic.
Not your fault. You're just trying to make it work.
You can try all kinds of different foods from different
Why it's being
countries.
weird?
It's so weird.
I don't know.
Like sometimes it's doing it, another time, and you're like not moving it. It just
I'm
is.
not moving, no.
Yeah. It's got to be the cord. It's just got a
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
Anyway, there
Yeah.
was like Ethiopian, Eritrean, Javan, Indonesian,
What is Javan?
But where's
From Java.
Eritrean?
Where is
Africa,
Really?
hmm
Okay.
Somalian. There's all these different countries that had food booths there. So if you wanted to sample different things and not pay like a full meal price.
So you can just go sample all kinds of different tables.
Sure.
And if you like something, you could, patronize the table and buy something bigger. But that's
Yeah.
kind of cool that you can just go around and sample stuff like that.
So Joel, what's the wildest food you've ever had? 'Cause
Okay.
You forgot to ask yourself that question.
Well,
Maybe I interrupted. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. You're
I
okay.
was just circling back.
No. That's thank you. Let me think. So I had something a second ago and I lost it. But I can tell you one thing I've ate that is bizarre and wild, and just because I don't think a lot of people have done it. But have you heard of the Pocky One Chip Challenge? I know
Yeah.
you know what it is.
Hot
Okay.
chip.
It's like a really, really, really fucking hot Dorito. Okay. So one of the challenges I posed to my streamers was if I got to 50 followers, I think is all it was, or 75, that I would schedule a stream where I ate the Pocky One Chip on the stream. So I bought it and it was like there, and I wanted to make sure people knew it was going to be like a scheduled event so you could make it to watch it. And I was super nervous about it. And Jesi didn't want me to eat it. She's like, I don't.
Your butthole's gonna be screaming.
Well, and like a week after I bought it, because I didn't eat it like for 2 weeks after I bought it, but like the week after I bought it, there was like a story about some kid died after he ate it. But the kid had like other health conditions, which probably it complicated those. But people are like, oh my God, so a kid died. You're going to die. And I'm like, I'm not going to die. A lot of people ate this dumb chip. But I did learn, some research on like what you should do to help prepare. Like get yourself a nice base of like certain types of foods. Like they said like bananas are really good because then whenever the food lands, like at least it's got something to kind of get mixed in with. And I
To
had,
absorb the heat.
yeah. And I also had a large blizzard from Dairy Queen on hand to help.
And then you got a second one.
What?
And then you got a second one because Paul brought you one.
What?
No, he didn't bring me another blizzard. He just brought me some ice cream.
Some
He
ice
bought
cream.
some ice cream, like a
Pint.
Ben and Jerry's
Yeah,
or something
like a
like
pint,
that. He's
yeah.
like, here, I brought you this. So you take this chip out, and the chip is individually sealed within this box. You take it out, and it just... You ever gotten a cool ranch Dorito that's got extra dust, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's like, well, there's a ton of dust on it. Okay, like quadruple that amount of dust, but it's like black and sometimes dark red
Wow.
all over this chip.
It just says, "Don't eat me." Don't,
It does.
Don't do it.
Okay,
Yes.
and at first it's not the heat, it's that it's so dry. As soon as you put that chip in your mouth, it's not the heat, it's that it's so dry. So it's hard to swallow it. You're like, and like they tell you to like try to see how long you can last without taking a drink. No. It was rough, dude. And what was so funny, the thing I remember outside of the heat was as soon as I swallowed like a good chunk of it, my body was like, like it was like, oh, what did you put inside of me? I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna. It didn't make me nauseous, but it just made like it was like the weirdest hiccups I've ever had. It wasn't like normal hiccups. And then I started sweating, and then I couldn't stop putting ice cream in my mouth. And everybody's like, I told people they could ask me questions. Bad idea. I'm trying to like I do anything but think about this heat in my mouth. And but here's the thing I'll say for me. I mean, I have somewhat of a tolerance to some heat, and I can eat spicy foods. Apparently, the Scoville rating on this chip is like 1 million or something like that. It's pretty high. Like, it's not the hottest thing in the world, but it's really high. And they make them from Carolina Reaper peppers. And it was about 30 minutes of, oh God, when is this going to stop? I ate that whole blizzard like, yeah, it was fast. And then it finally, my stream went for 3 hours, and I did that within like the first hour and a half, and by the last hour, I was like, okay, that's fine. And you mentioned coming out, it wasn't gonna feel so good. Actually, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
I had a different experience with some spicy food. If I may, I'll continue on. But it's a little shorter story. So I was at a place called Joella's Hot Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Nashville style hot
Sounds
chicken. It is good. They have lots of, we'll just say, tolerable heats, but they have one called Fire in the Hole. Okay, appropriately named, by the way.
Oh no!
So I go, and this is the second time I've been there. The first time I got just the hot and had it, and I was like, well, this isn't too bad. So I was like, let's try the Fire in the Hole. So you have to go up to the counter to order, and the lady's like, all right, what are you gonna have? And she's staring at her thing, plugging it in. And I'm like, I want the 3 tenders, Fire in the Hole. And she stops, she looks, she goes, Are you sure? And I go, sure, it can't be that bad. And I said, I've had the hot. It wasn't that bad. She's like, no, this is hot for hot's sake. Like, are you absolutely sure? And I said, yes, I'd like to try it. She's like, your funeral. So she plugs it in. And I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. And we go sit down, and I start eating it. And it's like, this isn't that bad. And I get a 1 tender in, and I'm sweating, and I'm like, oh. And I'm kind of just like not drinking my root beer to quench my thirst, but just to swig in my mouth back and forth because that's the only way this is making me feel better. And Jason, my boss, is talking to me. He's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "What? What?" Like I can't focus on anything except the heat in my mouth. That also lasted about 30 minutes. And the worst part was when I got home that night. And oh my goodness, I needed some Pepto-Bismol for my butthole. It was a spicy meatball coming out, and it came out many times, and I was not enjoying my evening. So Fire in the Hole was appropriately named there. So, anywho, those are my 2 spicy food stories that I have. So I think Tommy might win it though with the cat food story. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
You put salt on it.
I was curious. That's
He was
all
curious
there was
like
to
a
that.
cat.
Nobody asked me to. It wasn't a dare. I'm pretty sure I was by myself at the time, so it was just like, huh. Yeah, what's my cat eating? General.
Was it Sophie?
Yep, it was Sophie.
Wait, was this when we lived with Jeremy?
Or was it the tiny house?
I think it was the tiny house.
Oh, the
which
tiny house.
is not there anymore.
Really?
I walked
Yeah.
by when I first got into town, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not there at all. But, I mean, it was sinking into the ground when I lived into it.
It just
And,
melted into the ground.
I mean, and I don't know
They didn't even
if
have to bulldoze it.
I mean, it needed to go. I don't know if I told y'all, but whenever I did live there, there was this incident where, you know, the town was doing some kind of maintenance to the sewage. There was some kind of backup.
Oh.
So all of the sewage, everyone on the street's poop came out through my toilet. And it was
Your toilet?
it was flooding. I was opening the door and there's a waterfall of poo water.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There goes that month's rent. I'd be asking for that.
Yeah.
I
I guess
Yeah.
it's not the landlord though.
I knew the landlord was someone I personally knew, and he even had me clean it up.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
I'd be asking for a discount.
Yeah, I was a very
Something.
young adult and didn't know how to handle these things. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'll just leave work to go take care of this. Had to put on like a
Hazmat suit.
yeah, I should have.
Something.
Yeah, dude, you could have gotten like seriously sick or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
MRSA,
Well,
Oh.
So many things.
sepsis. I don't
Yeah.
know. Ew.
Hep C.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
You're alive.
I'm alive. I must have a great immune system or something. But yeah, I just clean it up with a shop vac and bleach the heck out of the floor, and I mean all the sewage stuff got taken care of. And then this was one of 3 times in my life where I'd have to deal with this situation. So it's like a running.
wow.
It's It's a karmic
happens
joke on my
in
life.
Tommy's life. Oh God.
Yeah.
God.
I remember the time the old man pooped at IGA and just left little pebbles throughout the store.
Wait, what? Throughout the store?
Didn't you have to clean that one up too, Tommy?
I've cleaned up so much poop. I've lost
It all
track.
fades into obscurity.
Yeah,
my
it's,
God.
it's just a day in the life, you know.
Oh my God.
Now there
Was
was,
he leaving like a poop trail?
Yes.
Was he like shaking it off his pant leg or what?
I don't know if it was
Oh.
he was aware he was doing it or if it was something he wasn't aware of.
His
but
colostomy bag was leaking.
somebody pooped their pants at my desk when I worked at the bank like 2 years ago.
What?
And you know who it was, don't you?
I do.
Don't mention him.
I
It's fine.
can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to clean it up too.
Wait,
Jeez.
you had to clean up their shit?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't think that she knew that she did it.
That's so messed up.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there across the desk and I just keep smelling it, right?
Oh.
And I'm trapped there.
Oh.
And
Was
all
she
my
old?
Oldish.
Oldish?
60s.
Like
That's
a shark?
kinda-
Was it like a
that's-
shark?
60s. I don't know. It's kind of, I guess.
Oh.
There was material in the seat.
Material.
I'm just like
I love
looking
the
at my
description.
coworkers with my eyes, like pleading, help me. Somebody.
Did anybody else know that's what
No.
you were doing? So this is like this is a private thing that you know about this person and nobody else knows that you did it.
After she left, I told them, like, hey, she just shit her pants at my desk. And they were like, oh, that sucks.
Like
Nobody-
sucks the suck, I
Nobody offered to
Wow.
clean it
guess.
up.
Oh,
I just moved the chair into the conference room, closed the door, and I cleaned it up.
dicks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else they would
So-
do though. Like, I mean, that does
But
suck.
the
But they
boss-
obviously were leaving her to do it.
The
Like,
boss,
that's
in
messed
my
up.
opinion, he was like the same age as the gal that pooped her pants.
Mm.
He could have stepped up and said, you know, you were trying to help her and sorry this happened. And he just, he sucked. Not a very good leader as
yeah.
far as that goes.
There's a lot of those out there.
Not like I'm expecting anybody to do it, but why did I have to do it? You know,
Right?
like
Right. Why did you get stuck with it?
they would push this gal off on me all the time. I'd have to
It's
open
not the
her
first time you
mail.
cleaned up her shit, huh?
Figuratively, no. She would bring stacks of mail to the bank, and I'd have to open them. And sometimes I'd come back from my lunch break, and they'd say, "She's here," and like they would have waited the whole hour that I was gone, and nobody helped her. And I was kind of like her person.
Was this was an employee?
No, just
This
a
was like
customer.
a customer that came in a lot.
Mhm. And she was my customer
Oh.
because nobody else wanted to help her. So
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You got handed. Oh, man.
You got handed the
You were
shit
low
show.
person on the totem pole, and they were like,
yeah, I was just nice, I guess. Gullible, too nice, really. I mean, everybody else just kind of turned a shoulder, like, eh.
you were also trying to, like, kind of see if you could move up. And so you're also trying to tread lightly, right? Like, you're not.
At that point, no. At
No,
that
you were
point, I
done.
was on my way out.
Yeah.
But just to, like we were talking earlier, me and Tommy,
You
like
talking about the bank in Mulberry?
Greenville.
In Greenville.
This happened when I was in Greenville
Wow.
about a year and a half ago. Yeah, it
Is
was.
this lady still alive?
Yes.
I don't need to
This-
know her name. I don't want to know her name.
This was about the last month I worked at the bank.
Mm.
Also contributed to me leaving. But, you know, like Tommy and I were talking, sometimes you just have to be the bigger person for the sake of it, not because you're getting paid or because somebody's going to tell you a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like, it doesn't even feel good to be the bigger person.
No, it doesn't a lot of the
no.
times. No, they say no good deed goes unpunished.
Sure.
And that's it, dude.
Yeah. So,
Oh, wow. Well, I could switch gears a little bit here. I mean, I love talking about poop, but
I got more poop stories. I have.
Okay, hit us
Oh,
up.
okay. I'll give you one more.
One more.
Oh, what's a good? Oh, okay. No, okay. This one isn't necessarily a poop story. It's just we're
Poop
talking
adjacent.
It's poop adjacent. Yes, because it does involve the bathroom, but it doesn't involve poop. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. So I was working at IGA. There used to be this guy around town. I don't know his full name.
Don't say it.
Can
No,
man?
I don't. I know his
Working
nick.
hard, Mark.
Can I use his
Can man?
nickname?
Yeah.
Working hard, Mark.
No, it's not. It's
Walking
not
hard.
working. There was
He's
a
dead
guy.
now, so it's okay.
There's a guy in town.
He still lives? He's still alive?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you've been gone. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He was just called Crazy Mike.
Crazy Mike.
He very definitely had mental issues. This
Oh,
isn't.
I
This
know who
isn't.
you're talking about.
Yeah, this isn't.
Bigger guy?
Yeah, this isn't making fun of him. It's just something that I witnessed that was just no matter who you were, it would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
So he used to stand in front of the store and just kind of staring off and just say random stuff. It was weird at first, but then everyone just kind of got used to it. It was like his routine. He'd come and stand there all day and just say random stuff. One day I was closing the store and I had to go clean the bathrooms, I think. And I went by the men's bathroom and I just heard muttering. I just heard just noises. And I was like, oh, okay. Put my ear to the door and I just heard, I'm the only one in the universe who can do it. And I was like, whoa. And right there, I had to put my hand in my mouth because I was going to start laughing right there.
I'm the only person in the universe.
So I ran back, and that's when Bob was still at the store. And I told him about it, and he was about to laugh right there. And he's just like, well, if I were you, I'd back up. The doors were probably about to blow off. So,
Bob. Classic. I got a Bob story.
oh,
Well, it's really a story about me, but it's
Bob adjacent.
Oh,
Bob-
are you
Bob-
about to tell on yourself
No, I am
on a
little bit.
recording?
Well,
Well, you don't work.
I
there
don't
anymore,
work there
so it don't
anymore, so
matter.
it's whatever. So I would, in high school, try to find ways to get out of doing work as much as possible. And I pulled a Jimmy Tizzle, if you will. So Jimmy Tizzle got caught sleeping behind
The
like
Baylor.
the Baylor or something like
Wasn't
that.
it?
That,
Listen, I got a little bit more. I was trying to be
Creative.
creative. I thought I was being pretty slick. So after 5 or 6 p.m., everybody in the meat department left for the day. So the meat department was just, basically the lights were turned off and nobody went in there after a certain time. The only time you'd go in was somebody had some sort of special meat order they had to pick up, or whenever we were giving turkeys out for Thanksgiving. So, I want to say James told me about this, but he's like, yeah, sometimes I come in the meat department and I go back to the, like, if you remember, you go in and you go to the left, there's like that little like room where they had all the stickers.
Yes.
And they had like where all their styrofoam things were. It was like their little storage room. And it was shelves and it like just made out of 2x4s. And at the very top, there was like just like an open area. They never used it because it was too tall to like store anything in there. So it was like always open. And so I think I don't know why, but I want to say James is like, yeah, sometimes I go hang out up there. And I'm like, cool. So, and I did that like 2 or 3 times. Well, then caught up to me one time. I was up there and it was dark and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take a little nap. And I'm laying there and I'm like, drifting off the dreamland. And then the lights turn on and I'm like, and I don't say a word. Okay. I don't say a word. And I hear the door open and Bob comes into that room. And I'm like, I'm trying to be like on Jurassic Park. They're like, don't move. He can't see you if you don't move. And I just, the only thing is I'm kind of like back against the wall. So like at a certain angle, he probably couldn't see me, but I saw the top of that buzz cut, just like fucking Jaws. And I'm like not breathing. I'm just holding my breath. Please don't see me. Please don't see me. You're going to fire me if he sees me. I don't think Bob would have fired me. I think he would have been like,
No.
damn it, Joel.
The disappointed dad.
Yeah, he would have been, because I think Bob liked me, but he didn't. And then he got whatever it is he came in for, left, and he turned the light back off. And I waited like a good 10, 15 seconds, but then I got down and I went through the back. You
The
know, how you go through
freezer?
the back freezer way.
Yeah.
And nobody ever found out about it. But I was like, that freaked me out. I'm like, I'm never doing that
You're
again.
shitting bricks.
I was, yeah. It's poop adjacent. I was about to shit myself.
I have an IGA story.
Yeah?
Branson was involved.
Branson? All right.
I
like
used
it.
to work in the frozen section a lot.
With Steve?
Yeah, with Steve. Sometimes just by myself. Anyway, I would go through and vet the expired items. So, like anything that was out of date, which frozen stuff rarely goes out of date, but sometimes it gets missed at the back. I'd pull stuff out, put it in the back damaged section, which if you worked there, a lot of the people would pilfer the damaged section for like free food. So I'm working in frozen one day and find a thing of Hot Pockets, a box
Hell
of Hot
yeah.
Pockets.
Hot
Score.
Pockets. We got a good rap about that one.
They're 5 years expired.
5 years?
5 years expired. It just doesn't. Want me
I
to
don't
say
know
it.
why. Yeah.
It doesn't want
It's
me
like,
to say
don't
it.
you sell this out. No, I'm kidding.
So Branson and Michael Bradley at the time
Oh, I forgot he worked there.
went back and then made these Hot Pockets.
Oh, God. Were they good?
So if they were
Push it back in again, see if maybe.
can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just thinking if they were expired.
Oh, my God, that stupid cord.
If they were expired by 5 years, they had to at least be 9 years old at the time. So, like, they were old Hot Pockets. They ate them. The next day, I come to work. I see the box. It's, like, open. There's still a box there, but there's, like, no Hot Pockets in it. Like, okay, what the fuck? So, I hear Branson and Mike talking about all these, like, this hurt so bad last night. These terrible
Were
poops
they
that
good?
they had.
Were they good, Branson?
First off, Mike is the one who got that. I didn't know.
You didn't know that they were
No,
expired?
he made them for us. I didn't know.
He didn't tell you? What a dick.
Well, he
Here,
said-
look, here's a
he
Hot
said,
Pocket.
"Do you want one of these?" And I
Yeah?
got one. That night I peed out of my ass.
And
Yeah,
I
you
heard him
did.
talking about it, and I knew exactly. I put 2 and 2. I was like, dude, did you guys eat the fucking Hot Pockets out of the frozen damaged section? Because those were old.
So I won't kill you.
So if
Oh
the
my
apocalypse
God.
happens tomorrow, we can survive on Hot Pockets. For a
Fire
little
in the
bit.
hole.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's He said, I didn't know they were 9 years old. Holy shit. That's crazy.
One time I came over to Branson's house to grill, and we straight up grilled a gas station burrito.
Wait, what?
One of those XL burritos that you get
Yeah?
in the frozen section. I
You
got
just put it
modem.
on a grill?
We did.
You're supposed to put them in a microwave.
We grilled it. And then we picked it apart like a carcass.
Was it good?
Yeah.
It was
It
good.
was so good. It
Was
had
it
a
better
nice
than a-
char on the outside.
Oh.
It was like lava on the inside. It was really good.
Just picture you both like kneeling down on the ground, like gnawing at it.
There was a time that you guys, Branson, they didn't have utensils. And I remember we brought stuff over to grill. And it was like, what are we going to use to eat, dude? He's like, I'll just caveman it. That's like a running thing now. Just caveman it.
Branson, do you want to come sit and do some talking?
I'm good.
You sure? I appreciate you being here listening, though. He's our studio manager, and he's the editor. He listens to everything. So we'll.
Shitty mic.
I know.
It's
Sorry,
it's the
guys.
cord. It's
Yeah.
it's not the mic. The mic. You sound really good when it's working. So, but I think
We hadn't tried that chord before.
That is the one you brought from upstairs, from downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'll
That's
get.
probably why it was all by itself.
I'm gonna get 2 more like 25-foot XLRs, and that'll be plenty for that and for mine. And then we'll clean up the cords a little bit. And
Well, you can just switch out those
just try to
two
take
and then
out
put that one on yours.
yeah, whatever. Just get 2, and it'll hopefully fix our problem. So there. Okay, I want to ask. What is here's a conversation topic. The first memory you have of each of the people, or the most memorable memory that you have of each person. So like Jesse, you and I are obviously married, so we have a lot of memories, but like think of maybe the first memory you have of me.
Okay.
Not that story.
I can't
Is-
tell that story, but
I mean, you can.
I'm not gonna.
That's an in-person only story, huh?
That's only people that are allowed to hear that story.
It's got sex. All right, but anyways, moving on.
No, I guess it would be just because we met online, so seeing your picture whenever you messaged me, like that would be my first interaction with you. And I remember part of our beginning of our conversation was that we both worked at Verizon at the time.
Oh yeah, we
So
did.
that's like
we
one
did.
of my core memories of our introduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember what's your earliest memory of Heather?
Poker nights.
Poker nights, yeah.
Like one of the first poker nights I came to, Heather was there. And
Was it the one where we gave her a birthday cake? It was like our birthday.
it was her birthday poker.
That was so
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
I was 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how she feels about me, but I felt like we were like buds as soon as we
Yeah.
like hung out. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Is that like your first memory of Jesse too? Do you remember that?
Yeah, there were a lot of people there. Like,
Yeah, there was a lot of people there.
I always remember getting along with Jesse. Like, always feeling like
Yeah.
I could talk with her and have the confidant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Awesome.
bud.
So what about Tommy? He lived with me, so whenever
He
you
lived with you, so I actually met him before like one of the poker nights.
yeah.
I don't remember like the time that I met him, but I remember interacting with him as your roommate.
Was that 911 East Harris?
You t-
I'm pretty sure.
no,
Yeah,
I wasn't.
No,
I
the
didn't know
house we
Jesse
live in
until
now.
I had bought my
Yeah.
house by the time I had started talking to Jesse.
Yeah, it was while we were talking.
Mhm.
You
that-
guys did live. Was it 911 East Harris?
I'm pretty sure that was it.
I did
That
not
was
remember
where
that.
poker nights originated.
Yeah.
That is where they
OG
started.
poker nights.
Yeah.
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 I remember I would bring grape cigarillos.
Yeah.
Thought I was cool.
Those are so
Nice.
good, though.
They
I
are
like them.
good.
They do taste good. Yeah, the very first poker night, while we're on top, was actually a New Year's Eve party, and I want to remember. I think Branson was there. Like
Curtis Brook.
Tyler was there.
Was that the night that Branson got pissed? His Curtis had a king 6 and called him.
Do you remember that, Branson?
I don't know what I said.
Who calls on a king 6?
That sounds like something Branson would say playing
was
poker.
pissed.
That's other fruitful language.
Yeah. Curtis didn't know what he did.
He didn't know, dude. Like people who don't know how to play poker piss people off who play poker. Like I
Yeah.
get that though. All right. No, Jesse didn't know me whenever we lived in the shit house is what we like to call. I call
That's
it
where
that.
Oh, it's-
Jimmy the ferret was. They're so
Yeah.
I know. Well, I actually knew Jimmy too because he
He did live with me for a
was at
little
the
bit.
new house too.
Jimmy
Yeah.
and Gigi for a while.
Gigi, yeah, Gigi died first, and
Yeah.
then Jimmy
Yeah.
died shortly afterward. And they did. I love ferrets, but they're too stinky.
They're
I can't have
stinky
them
for sure.
anymore.
Yeah.
But okay, so you've kind of gone through all of the memories that you can think of for us. So like, what's your first memory of Heather, Tommy?
I do believe it was when I was living in a garage with Nathan.
Sounds
you-
right.
And I just remember him, I think that was the first time I met you. He brought you over and I don't know. I don't remember.
You were living with Nathan at that time?
in his parents' garage.
Yeah.
In the
Wait,
one
are you
of
talking
3
about
times that I lived in a garage. In
The
my
house
life.
that over by the cemetery?
We took a lot
Yep.
of walks in
But
the
you
cemetery.
knew
Yep.
Heather before that, though, didn't you?
No,
I don't think
I
so.
didn't
guess
go. I didn't go
I-
to Mulberry. I went to Greenville.
I
so-
guess at the early stages of me and Nate and like playing music, like when he lived in the house over by Buckeye, the one that you
Yeah.
asked about the other day, you weren't really dating.
I was.
You
That's
were
when I
dating Nate?
started dating him.
Oh, see, I feel like you would have known her somewhere
It's-
along the lines there.
possible.
But that's like maybe what you remember the most is whenever.
Do you remember he had the graduation party there and his dad said, Nathan, you're on the cusp of manhood.
We said something about that the other day. You're on the cusp of your manhood.
So maybe that's the first
that could
time.
be it.
'Cause
That could be
He
it.
I
was
remember
always-
hearing about you guys going to Canada and Tommy.
Oh,
yeah.
Natalie. I forgot about his girlfriend that lived up there.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's cool. Okay, and then what about
Crusp.
the
Crust. That's the genesis point. Crust.
By the way, did you know Pat lives in like
Thailand.
Thailand now?
What?
He's married to some lady.
Is
out
it
in
a
Thailand.
lady? Or
Or a lady boy?
sorry.
No, it's a lady. It's a lady. I've seen
Okay.
pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, he's out there living his best life, dude.
Is he on the cusp of his manhood?
He's on the cusp of his
He is.
yeah,
With
something.
his 9 toes.
Dude, it's so funny when like these same topics came up like on the the ride home when I picked him up in St. Louis the other day about Pat and that he lives in Thailand and that do you remember he has only 9 toes and he's like yeah he chopped one off with his lawnmower.
Yeah.
The big toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
god.
And he would always
balancing
wear
toe.
holes through his socks and try
Yeah.
to give them to Nathan. Nathan's like, I don't want these.
Pat was he was such a good character. Still is a good character.
He is. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He
Yeah.
had a love for Neil Young that got me into Neil Young.
Oh yeah.
So,
He was big into acoustic music.
Yes was another one they liked.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So, okay. And then what about your memory of Jesse? Is it kind of the same one?
Yeah, it'd be about the same. Geez, and more I think of it, it's like I don't remember the specific points I've met anyone. It's like everyone's memory is weird.
It is weird.
It kind of like
'Cause-
blends together, right? Like
Yeah, it's just kind of a messy watercolor painting. I don't know. There's
That's
your
a
metaphor.
really good way to yeah. All right, what about me?
I do remember you were on the stream last night. I think you were talking about your Mega Man shirt.
Yeah.
I remember I had the same Mega Man shirt.
I beat the 8 master robots.
Yeah.
And it had Mega Man 2 robots on
So,
it.
like,
Yeah.
it's like a
I think I
very,
know that shirt.
you
Yeah.
sounded
It's a-
so proud of that. Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
generic dude way of bonding. Like, whoa, we have the same shirt. Let's be friends.
Yeah. Like that's all it takes to be a friend with another guy. Like
Yeah.
we got the same shirt. Like
So
it's
pure.
It's like that moment on Step Brothers when they like have this weird realization that they're not that different, and then they want to do karate in their dad's garage and
Did we just
build
become
bunk
best
beds.
friends?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But so you remember seeing that? Was it? So my earliest memory of you, or something along the lines of that, was you were working at Super Value, and you were Super Value man to me because like you were like in my head there was this kind of funny little like rivalry. Like he worked at the opposing grocery store, and I worked at the IGA, and so like we weren't really like friends at start. It was just kind of like
We had a mutual friend through
like
Nathan.
and then James too, but mostly Nathan. And then I became closer friends with Nathan, and then we played music, and then that's kind of how like I started getting closer to Tommy, and then other groups of friends within that circle.
So this started back in like high school then.
Oh yeah. Yup. And Heather, we went to school in Mulberry, and like I knew who she was, but I feel like, and I think she'd probably agree, we really became good friends in high school, and specifically world history class. So I loved Mrs. Nethery, my favorite
Me too.
high school teacher. I had a lot of good high school teachers. I really did. But I loved Mrs. Nethery. Still love her. I see her every once in a while, and like it's like nothing's changed. But Mrs. Nethery was really cool. I think I took like 3 classes with her that year because I liked history, and it was cool being
She
her.
was a strict teacher. You didn't get by with any shit, but she was a good person. And she knew her stuff.
She was like, I don't know. I got her, if that makes sense. Like, you know, some people you just get and you just, you know, you jive well with them. So Heather was in like world history, which was like a freshman class typically, or sophomore, because if you needed a history credit, I didn't need any more credits. I just needed to fill time, and I really liked history, so I took that class. And Heather was in it, and a bunch of other freshmen. I think it was me. The only other senior I think that was in it was Josh Nicolaitis, if I remember correctly. Remember Josh?
Forged in Fire champion, season 1, episode 6.
What?
Yeah, he won Forged in Fire.
I know he does blades. Like I see.
He won. There's an episode. I'm pretty sure it's season 1, episode 6. Washington's Polish Shard or something. Anyway, you can find it out there. But yeah,
He's a blacksmith, and he does some really cool stuff.
That's
Primarily
cool.
makes like smaller knives and things, but
works out of Chobanier, Illinois.
Shaboner. So is that the same memory? Like, do you kind of remember that time
him
frame?
in that class. He was in one
No,
of my
no, no. I
math
mean
classes.
for me and you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember drawing a smiley face on the back of your arm because you sat in front of me.
I kind of remember that.
You left it for like the whole day, and I feel like this goth girl told you it looked cool. And then I felt like that was a real compliment because I
goth
wanted to
girl?
be edgy.
What goth girl was that?
Megan Schultz.
Chris's little sister.
Yeah.
Megan was really cool though.
She was super.
Megan was, or sorry, Chris
just a
was.
different. She definitely marched to the beat of her own drum.
She let me borrow a lot of really cool, like, goth metal CDs. But I like that stuff. I was just really trying to like get a lot of variety in my music at that time. And then, Jess, I mean, my same thing. Like, I remember us messaging on SinglesNet, and like, you had to pay to actually send real messages. Like, you could kind of like be like, "Hey, you're cute." Like, it's like a generic one.
Like a little smiley face or
But if you
something.
wanted to like do anything more, you had to
it
pay
had
for
the
it.
month's subscription.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did the free trial, and I think you did too. It was like a free 30-day or something, or it was like
Yeah.
a discounted like 30-day something. I don't remember, but I was like, I'm only doing it for 30 days. I'm not gonna pay for it anymore after this. I'm just gonna see what happens. And then, like, not too long.
She
after
won the
that-
lottery, folks. That's what she did.
Not too long after that, you were reaching out. So
Well, so like, I think I've told you this before, but like, I messaged like 30 different ladies, and you were the only one that responded to me. So,
Casting a wide net.
hey, you gotta try, right?
I was just thinking about this story with you, Joel.
What?
When you had your Firebird, I remember you had a
Oh.
decent sound system in it.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom was riding in the front passenger seat. I was sitting in the back. And I remember you turned it up. And she was like, I can feel it. And
Yeah.
talking about she could feel the vibrations.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to me.
She yeah, that's actually one thing that if you have a pretty good
She would like my car.
bass, yeah, I bet she would. Like, because that is kind of a way that they can hear in a way. Like, obviously they're not hearing it through her eardrums, but she's hearing it through just like she can feel the different
Yeah.
lengths of the.
I had never thought about that. And then
beat.
she said it. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can feel it too. Yeah. That I remember. It might have been the time you lived in Bloomington with James.
Yeah.
That was cool. We
It was. That
we
was
did a
a.
Ouija. We did a Ouija board that
Did
night.
you stay up there for a day or two?
Well, just one day, I think. I stayed that night. We did a Ouija board, and we contacted somebody from like World War II. They were like an English prisoner of war. Do you remember any of this?
Kind of do.
It was
I remember having a
weird
Ouija
as
board.
hell, dude. Because we just kept like we were all three like we're not moving it. Like nobody was like consciously moving it. But then we would like put together all these little clues, and then it started to like come together as this cohesive story somehow.
Yeah.
And it was like what? I remember being kind of creeped out, but also like, what's out there? You know, like,
You never know.
yeah.
I do remember
was
that Ouija
wild.
board. My mom had it, and I think I asked her if I could have it. Like, it was, you could just buy it. It was like Milton Bradley Ouija
Yeah,
board
they
or
still
something like
make
that.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
But I remember I never moved it. I just had my hand on it, and it always felt like it was floating. So, like,
Yeah.
either it was really moving or somebody else was good enough to make it seem like it. So,
If it was James, like he's notoriously like a trickster. Like I feel like James is Loki.
Yeah.
Like James is Loki.
He's got mad low-key energy for
Yeah.
sure.
true.
I
true.
didn't even feel like he was doing it to mess with us though. Like I really
Yeah.
thought he was just as caught up in it as we were, and like we got to keep like what's happening. Like I feel like his name was like Charlie or something. I don't know. Anyway, we did that thing for like an hour. It was a long time.
It was entertaining and creepy at the same time.
yeah.
You
Everything
know,
okay, babe? Cool.
I had a Ouija board once,
Yeah.
and I ended up throwing it into a fire because it was kind of freaking with me, and I was like, I need to burn this from my life.
Did you just play it by yourself?
No, see, it's crazy. In St. Louis, in the area, because I used to live in St. Louis for a tiny bit, there was this like metaphysical store that I'd go check out, and I went there one time and I bought a Ouija board, and then they were like, "Ah, this is handcrafted from real witches," and it had this cool design on it, and tried it out with Chris and some other friends a couple times. I think most of the time Chris was like, "Whoa, it's doing this. Whoa." And he was guiding it.
Yeah.
And we'd call him out on it, and he'd go, "No." no. But
No.
maybe. I mean, maybe not. We went in the graveyard at night and did this.
I remember doing it with like Jeannie Rhodes too at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And
Yeah. I haven't heard of Genie in a long time.
I had like one or two like weird dreams, and then there was a kid in town, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you have a Ouija board." He's like, "I want to use it to open a portal to hell."
Oh, what
like,
the hell?
I was like, "Why?" And then I went through like
Casual, like, why'd you want to do that? Like,
why? Yeah. I went through like a second Christian phase in my life for a bit. And I was just kind of like, I need to get this thing out of my life.
Yeah.
So like I remember throwing it into the fire to get rid of it.
yeah.
And I could have swore I heard like a little scream for a second. I mean, it could.
Creepy.
Yeah.
They are kind of creepy.
They
just
are, dude.
inherently creepy.
I don't like them.
So I don't mess with them
I mean,
anymore. But I mean, the scream thing could have just been like, it was just so built up to that point that maybe I was like, oh, it's the demons being burned out or whatever. But
you've seen the Exorcist. Like, that's kind of the premise of
That's
how
out
the
of
girl.
St. Louis.
I actually did hear about that. I think I knew that.
I don't know where the house is, but if you do enough research, you can find it.
But like in the beginning of the movie, like the girl's playing with a Ouija board, and like that's supposedly how she gets, what's the term?
Possessed.
Possessed. Yeah, yeah.
oh,
You
have
got another story?
this is a current thing. Have any of you heard of something called demon face syndrome?
No.
No.
Okay, this is actually like in the news, like the regular. I don't know. I don't watch regular news, but I saw
Yeah.
that this was on the regular news. You could look it up to verify. It's not like a April Fool's thing or whatever. So they have this thing, and it was reported on the news. They're labeling it as a medical condition. They call it demon face syndrome. So it's like if you have this condition, you can look at other people, and some of them will have facial features that would be like what would be you would consider a demon. But what I find really weird about this is at the time of reporting it, it was only like 70 cases in the nation. And I'm like, why are they reporting something that's only has 70 cases? And
Yeah, that's so small.
I found it odd, and it was like I just kind of just started speculating about it. I'm like, what if it's people actually seeing like, supernatural things walking around. The news is just like, no, it's just a medical condition. It's weird. I'm like, no, what if it's actually weird stuff walking around? It's like a weird conditioning thing.
I
I don't freaking know, but it's interesting.
I think sometimes maybe maybe they will label it like that to cause less alarm or panic.
They could have just as easily not reported on it, though.
True.
Yeah,
I mean,
see, that
70
was the
cases
thing.
is
They-
like nothing.
Or like, oh, let's make a big deal about this. It's like, but it's only 70 people have had it.
It's things like that that make me, and I'm not really like a conspiracy person, but I do feel like the news does try to distract us from other things by,
Oh, absolutely.
putting other reports of stuff out. So maybe it was like a distraction tactic, like it was a filler
Could be.
to
It
It
distract you
could
from
be. It
something
could be
else.
all.
I've never
fake,
heard of it.
Too.
Did they have you looked up any like photos of like what people might see in
Yeah,
other people?
they had a computer thing, and it just really looked like someone's eyes were just stretched back, and they had like green goblin ears. Like it.
Weird. I've never heard of that though.
No, it's relatively new.
This is something semi-related, but
Okay.
do you guys think that cats look like demons when they yawn? Because I do.
I know what you mean, like, cause yeah.
It's just really freaky.
Yeah.
And their teeth and their eyes, like you said, kind of slit back. Anyway, I call my cat the little demon, but
What's your cat's name?
little.
Little?
Little.
Yeah.
So cats' eyes kind of creep me out sometimes anyway.
Their
Yes.
pupils get real big, and it's like, oh, you're going to
Yeah.
bite me.
Because they're
Or
like
whe- or
concave
whenever-
shape or whatever it is. Like it's like
Whenever
Slit.
they get real narrow,
Slits,
the
yeah.
slits, yeah, that's whenever I think they look the creepiest.
It's like them and alligators and snakes. There's only a few animals that have that eye shape.
Have you ever
Yeah.
looked at goat eyes?
dude.
Yeah.
Goats got some freaky looking eyeballs.
Yeah.
Frogs do too.
Oh yeah.
Do you still have a bunch of reptiles or like,
Yeah.
what do you got?
Well, there's a tortoise, Clyde, and then Florida snapping turtle, a small like juvenile box turtle, leopard geckos, Java moss frog, or maybe it's just a mossy frog. I think it's just a mossy frog.
Do you have a bearded dragon?
No, none of those. I think no, we have a wood turtle also, but yeah, lots of reptiles, lots of critters at my house. We had fish for a while, but not anymore. The not tropical. They're freshwater fish, but those were really cool to have.
Yeah.
Turtles ate them all though. So
Well, they were hungry,
Short-lived.
okay?
short-lived. Yeah, the tortoise is the favorite though. I mean,
Clyde, you said?
he's the most like personable. If a reptile can be personable, I think they can.
I think animals have personalities.
After a lot of years of being around them, like turtles especially and tortoises, it seems like he genuinely wants to be around people, has an interest in like what you're doing or where you're at. He likes to come and just sit on my foot.
You know what that reminds me of? I saw like a TikTok video the other day of a tortoise or a turtle that they put like a skateboard underneath him, and he was playing with he lived in a house where the owner had a cat too, and he figured out how like when he was on the skateboard, it was just a little skateboard thing. Like he could use his hands to push himself, and it was almost like he was like swimming, but he was very playful. And it's funny you mentioned that your turtle has a lot of personality,
He does.
and it just reminded me of that video because you just like I don't know, I don't think a lot about the personality of like reptiles because especially turtles, they seem so slow, and you just kind of feel like, well, they just move slow and
Yeah.
they
They
don't.
have brains.
He's super curious. And
Yeah?
he really likes the color red. And
How do you
also
know? What is it?
feet.
What is that? What do you mean by like? Tell us a little
Like
more about that.
My toenails are red right now, and he's super into them. Like he really likes
Maybe he's just got a
strawberries.
foot fetish, dude.
He really likes strawberries and tomatoes, different things that are bright colored.
Yeah.
Like to eat mangoes are one of his favorites. So yeah, anything red, generally, he'll go after it and sniff it.
He thinks it's strawberries.
Yeah. He
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? He's associating a color with food, probably.
even if I don't have polish on my toes, he still has like a weird thing with feet where he'll just come and either likes to be on your feet, next to your feet, sniffing your feet. I guess that makes sense because it's the part of the body that's the closest to him. So
Yeah.
I get
But
it.
also, it's like if you think about toes, they're
Yeah.
kind of like turtle headish.
I don't know
right?
what he
Like
thinks.
they're-
Or the size of a strawberry.
He'll just
That too.
even
yeah.
with my shoes on, he'll come and just like
Oh.
rest. Like, I don't know if he's getting warmth off of my feet. But he'll just rest on my foot. Just
Oh,
look up at me, up my leg. He's a very sweet animal.
He loves you.
Super leathery and cold to the touch. It's different. It's kind of cool. My niece is interested in him when she comes over and wants to always feed him and pet him and, you know.
that's awesome. I have an interesting story. Jesse can attest to the story. So we went to Mexico, and the resort we stayed at, they tell you, like, there's lots of wildlife. You can't touch them. Like, don't do anything to the wildlife. And there are literally like big iguanas that just
Those are mean.
Just
They
lay all
are
over
mean.
the place.
So you have to walk on the paths everywhere you go. Like, it's not like they were like, ganging up to like just eat somebody or something, but you'll see one every once in a while, and they just post up, and usually it's because they're just like sunning or whatever. But we're walking on one of these paths, and this guy's just like, I mean,
He was a big boy.
he was a big boy, probably his body, not including his tail, like 2.5 feet. Like, it's pretty big for an iguana.
We had one at one point.
Sure.
A rescue. Yeah.
I mean, they can get pretty big.
Yeah.
And I walked around, but Jesse's like, fuck that. And he, like, whenever they do move or they get skittish, like, they're pretty quick. And so, like, kind of freaks you out a little bit because you think, oh, shit, he's coming for me.
Yeah. And in movies, the last person is always the one that dies. He got by.
I
He
did.
let him by. And I was the last one. And I knew he was going to get me. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
She just went the long way around.
I did.
We didn't see a ton of them that were like that, but I just remember one specific time we were walking on a path and we were like, yeah, he's a little too close.
And he
for
was not
comfort.
looking very friendly either.
No.
No,
he
he
had the
wanted to-
eye on
he
us
wanted
and
to bite.
everything.
I think they
Yeah.
can be friendly, but generally are not.
Yeah.
It depends on,
and
like,
he made fun of me because I was taking the long way. I'm like, nope.
well, I mean,
I'm
I
glad
went
you
around.
made it, but it didn't. It's not happening for me.
You would have died.
Wasn't feeling it.
They're not related to reptiles, but another funny incident with animals while we were there. The very first day we were there, we were like, let's go get some lunch, and we went to it was the Mexican restaurant, and they had tables inside and outside, like right outside of the building, and there was this couple that had like just got their food, and no shit, like 30 seconds later, what are those animals called? They
ones with
they
the
were like
anteater
raccoons
tongues?
almost. They were like raccoons. They kind of look like raccoons.
Yeah, I can't
Mexican
remember what they were
raccoons.
called, but they look like raccoons mixed with anteaters.
Yeah, and
Like they had an anteater tongue
these
that would
two
like come out.
these two just crawled on their table. They got food, took what they wanted, and left. And like the people were like, "What the fuck?" Like, because you can't touch them, you can't do anything. You just got to let them do what they want. I mean, granted, it's an all inclusive, so you can just order more food if you want it. But it was like bizarre. Like you just walk up and all of a sudden, fucking animals are just grabbing your food out from you.
We did see capybaras too. Those were really
Those were
cute.
cool. Capybaras. Yeah, like those
Yeah.
are like big
Giant
fucking
rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
They're
they
the
have
biggest.
the tail like a rat, but yeah, it's a giant
Yeah,
rodent,
they
isn't
had
Yeah,
like
it
a
is.
little nubbins for a tail, and it was like their fur I thought was really neat looking.
Were they capybaras or were they something like a capybara?
It was like that, but I can't remember what the actual name was. It was a smaller version of it, but I've forgotten all the Spanish since then. So,
Yeah, it's okay.
but the fur on them was really neat. It was like almost like a bird. You know how a bird has like the variations in the colors, even if they're like one tone of a color. So these animals were like brown, but their hair had like this brown to black, like almost like ripple looking effect, but it was just because of the coloring. It was really neat.
Coatis, that's the Mexican raccoons.
Yeah.
Coati, Coatis is what they're called.
Yeah.
And they have long tails and like they're kind of colored like dark, almost like a. They just reminded me of raccoons because they could climb and had. It seemed like they had like opposable thumbs, kind of like raccoons.
Yeah, they were different. They were everywhere.
Do you have any animal stories, Tommy?
I feel like I have several. What kind of animal story?
I don't know. Funny, interesting, scary, poop adjacent.
I'm the
Did you
only one in the
ever
universe.
meet the cat that I used to have? Two cats. I had Sophie, and then I had another orange cat that we called OJ. Because orange juice. Because he's an orange
I do
cat.
remember that. Was that in the tiny house?
It was.
I do remember that.
I love bringing up this cat because he was stupid, and it was hilarious. He was like one of the sweetest cats ever, but he was very low in the intelligence. But he was basically kind of like a hobo cat that he kind of just started hanging around my house because I gave him food.
Food, yeah.
Did he come with the stick and his clothes wrapped around the end of the stick?
He
I was
had a weird tail. It was kind of like a cane. It was always kind of like hooked like this all the time.
Huh.
But he was just, I don't know. Okay, an example. Whenever I first got him and let him come in the house, he would stare at everything we do in the house with amazement. I'm just making food, and he's just like staring, like trying to figure out what's going on. And at the time, there was that house had a screen door. The screen was ripped out for whatever reason. So I would just leave the main door open, and Sophie would just jump in and out all day, coming and going as she pleased. OJ would like look at her like
How are you
he was-
doing that?
He was so amazed. So one day he looked at the door and like, cause he didn't know how to jump. I don't know how, but he never figured it out. So Sophie took it upon herself to teach him how to be a cat. So one day after like some training, he tried to go up the door. So I mean, whoever's listening won't have this visual, but you try to figure it out. So Sophie's jumping up like this. OJ has this like look of like readiness, and he just goes, knocks himself out. Then he just shook his head and walked away. And the other thing too, we had a litter box set up. He didn't understand what he was doing, so he pooped in the box, but he didn't understand why he did it. So he would poop in the box, walk a few feet away from the box, and start pawing the ground, and he would just look around all confusedly. And I was like, close enough, buddy. Like the
At
poop,
least sitting in the box.
the poop was in the box, and
Poop adjacent. There we go.
this
That's
cat
the theme for tonight.
had a tragic end due to his lack of intelligence.
Oh no. Poor
Yeah,
OJ.
the very first night when we made it into Arizona, I lived in a desert town called Chino Valley
Yeah.
in my sister's garage. That was the second time I lived in a garage. It was nighttime, and OJ just sprints off into the darkness.
Ooh.
And I never saw him again after that. The very first night we got in Arizona, so I'm pretty sure a coyote got him. Sophie
that
looked
be-
at the darkness, was like, yeah, I'm going with these guys. She was a smart cat, though. OJ, I wish she was still around, but
Wouldn't that be the third time you lived in a garage, though? Because didn't you live in a little garage apartment in town?
That's what he means when we say the tiny house. That's you're talking
well,
about that.
no, that wasn't a
garage
garage though. That
apartment.
actually was a house. So I lived in a garage with Nathan in his
Yeah.
parents' garage.
Yeah.
Second time was with my sister. Third time was actually like 2 years ago because me and
You
the
were married with Luna and everything.
Yeah, we tried to do off grid, failed pretty badly.
I want to know more about that.
Okay.
So tell us like how you came to want to do that, and then you started it, the struggles, and then why you ended up maybe concluding that journey.
Well, I've always wanted to live off grid, but you need a lot of preparation. You need a lot of resources to start with. Maybe there's some like success story out there, but they probably didn't have kids. It was probably just them, and because if it was just me, or even just me and Luna, it would be different because
Yeah.
we can kind of tolerate more extremities and go without less a little easier. But we actually had bought land in a town called St. John's, Arizona, basically middle of nowhere. It's like Greenville, but even smaller. So maybe like Mulberry Grove sized.
Okay.
And it was really weird. When I was there, I was like, this feels like the Midwest out here. So we didn't like buy the land fully. We like put a payment. We had a tax refund.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
got land. And we're like, all right, we're going to go in there a couple months. And even the whole time I was like, we need more preparation. We had another friend in with it on us. And it just kind of felt like this thing had started and I couldn't stop it. So I was like, okay, let's just see how this goes. Got all of our stuff packed up, left our house, had a very disastrous leaving the house that we were renting at the time.
What happened?
We just didn't have enough time to move out, so we kind of just left some stuff outside and left it for the landlord to deal with, and
Wow.
I still feel pretty bad about that.
They probably just had to throw it away. I mean, if it was just extra stuff,
Yeah, but it's like they had to like
deal with it.
I was like, that sucks. But
Well,
it was just like the start of it was just
didn't get a strong start to you. You felt rushed.
yeah.
You leave this mess for your landlord, so you just kind of like the vibe already was off.
It was very off, and we left in like the end of September, so we're leaving. Oh, let's go here while it's cold. So
Probably easier to do it in the warmer months to start. So like spring would have been a better launching season, maybe.
yeah, but we did have shelter.
Okay.
We had a camper that was put out there, and it had one solar panel equipped to it that we had to have kept charged to like activate like the water and just basic stuff. It was cramped though because it was me, Luna, 2 kids, and our 2 dogs, and
Yeah.
a camper maybe the size of this room.
For 6 living beings, that's not a lot of space. Not even
No.
really. It's not even a lot of space for one person, to be honest. I couldn't just live in a room this big. I could, but I wouldn't like it. I guess what I'm trying to say. And then yeah.
So yeah, we were out there.
And how long? Tell us the year. When did you do this? Like how many years ago?
This was 2020.
Wow.
So during the
During the pandemic, and Noah's like 8 or 9, and Luna's like 4 or 5, somewhere around those ages, right? Like
Yeah.
kind of younger kids.
yeah.
Isn't Luna his wife?
Sorry, no, Luna. Jade. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Luna, sorry. Well, I told him yesterday. My friend Sam, his daughter's name is Luna. So when he says Luna, I immediately think your daughter. I know that her name's Jade, but it's hard for me to discern that. I know Luna is your wife. So continue on. I just wanted to kind of paint the picture
Yeah,
a little
it
bit more
was-
about like how old those kids were during that time too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of like in a wreck at this moment. because as I was driving the moving truck. That was actually for a while, like as we were getting there, I'm just like driving, and I'm like, as I'm driving, like talking, I'm like, I'm making a big mistake right now. It's like
what have I done?
Fuck. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like failing. This is not good. There's
You
a
felt
wreck
bad about it. Now how did your wife feel?
She has like, oh, it'll all turn out fine attitude, and our friend had
Real
that too, and I
optimistic.
was just like, usually I'm that person too, but I was just like, this does not feel good at all, you
It's
know?
a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You wanted to do this, but you felt like it wasn't executed at the start correctly.
It felt
Rushed, right.
Felt rushed,
Okay.
and we didn't have anything nearly enough where I wanted it. And then they're like, well, you can't have all your ducks in a row. I'm like,
You can have a few.
we could have more than one duck.
The one duck was that you had a place.
We could have like 3 ducks out of 12. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so you're in this camper
Yeah.
with a single solar panel to give you power to basically give you like warm water.
Which the solar panel ended up breaking while we were out there.
Oh,
Oh,
Because,
damn.
and I was like, and then so it got to where I had to start, put jumper cables from my car onto the solar panel to like
to
give it
jumpstart
juice
your house.
so that we could have heat at night, because they had heaters on it. Because once we got there, there was a cold snap that came by that wasn't even regular,
Oh.
and we all got super sick.
Oh no.
Did you get COVID or was it just
It
like
might have been. I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you got 4 people right there, like if one of you is getting sick, all of you is getting sick.
So, yeah, I ended up not being able to fix the solar panel because the guy that made it for us, he had some weird setup to where he was using an auxiliary cable, like what you use for TV. He had it set
Yeah.
up because there was conveniently a solar panel place just like 45 minutes away, and I told them about the setup, and they're like all seasoned experts, and they were all scratching their heads like, why would you use that cord? So everyone I talked to was like, that's not how you do this. And I'm like, I didn't build it. Like, don't look at me like that. I'm just trying to make it work.
So it busted. You're sick. It's cold. How long did that last?
We stayed out there like almost a month. We made it.
Just 1 month.
Yeah. And our friend, she ended up leaving early. So we still had like a week and a half before we went back. But, there's some cool stuff that happened too.
Yeah,
Like,
tell us
in
what
the-
happened was good.
So Jade ended up getting to perform in this like cheerleading thing for the high school in town. So we were taking her in town to do like cheerleading training for this town of of people we had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
It was actually, she did her performance on like the last day that we were there, and then we were just like, let's get out of this place. But so that was cool. I mean, we could still go into town.
Yeah.
It's just, it was down a long, really bad dirt road because we're out in the middle of nowhere. So it's like a 45-minute drive of just like slow bumpiness to and from.
So just want to ask, because I don't know if I have the right definition of off the grid, but the way I understand off the grid is you have your own power, you provide your own water and food sources, and you essentially have no direct need for other human beings other than the ones that live with you.
That's like the goal, but most people are kind of in a mixture of that.
So did you still have like full-time jobs, but you were just living without being any, like paying for
No,
utilities?
we had no jobs.
You didn't work at the time. Neither one of
No,
you.
it was like, oh, we'll just find jobs when we get there. Like there was a lot of it's cool to have like the optimism, but it was a
It
lot
only
of
takes you
that
so far.
and like a lot less of reality. But I think it was a great experience all in all, not only to like see firsthand what you actually need to do, but I kind of had experience where like I was broken. Like it's like if let's say if like your soul is like, you know, comprised of this. I went out there and it just got smashed into pieces and all the pieces were
Oh
scattered.
my gosh.
So like I just started waking up at 5 a.m. and just walking out, and I was just like straight up praying, like whatever you are, God, like please like help me here, because like I feel like I screwed up really bad. And then things kind of started working to get back, and I'm still kind of like in this like discombobulated state where it's like, what am I? Who am I? Like, what was this all about? You know, and I've been like slowly like getting the pieces back.
Yeah.
But now they're getting rearranged into something different. So it was like
Better?
this better, yeah.
That's good.
It was this like necessary breaking. Because then after that we end up living in a garage, and it was like, wow,
Did you
this
move back
sucks.
to-
But I was thankful to have
Yeah.
a shelter, and then our dog died soon after that.
Ugh.
Like it was like an extended. Have you ever heard of the term "dark night of the soul"?
No, I haven't.
Basically, it's like all of the like worst things in your life come up to the surface, and you have to look at them, and it's this like intense emotional grieving or
Ooh.
anger. And it was just this kind of extended like fuck, but then it's good for you in the end. So we were living in a garage and starting to get things figured out, and then I was given the opportunity to work at this mine, being an electrician, which I don't know anything about being an electrician, but my friend's like, no, all you do is zip tied cords all day. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. He's like, but you're going to have 7 days a week to work, and they're long days. And I was like, I have to make up for this terrible mistake. So I went and did it, and I was making like $2,500 a week. Like I was making good pay.
Wow, that is really good
and
money.
that pay was able to like get us the house that we're living in now.
How come you're not there no more?
Where the?
How
No,
come you're
I-
not still doing the electrician stuff?
Oh, it was a temporary thing because they had a mine
Oh.
and they needed a company to come in and set up the electric work.
But it was like that
It
was
like
the
a
opportunity.
contractor job.
Yeah, but like it's kind of like fate. Like that's what you needed to like. You were trying something out, and then opportunity was like, all right, listen, here's your ticket to get out, and you're gonna get like you're gonna basically catch right back up to where you were, and then you can continue on with your life. That's really cool though. So like, what was like, who between you and Luna, who was like, I've had enough. We've got to go. We're done with this project.
I was already there early on. It's just she, came to that conclusion herself.
She
shortly
finally-
after that.
Like her optimism she finally realized like maybe we didn't plan this out the right way. And do you want to like the kids, did they enjoy that at all?
They loved it there.
They did.
Oh yeah, they just went outside and played all the time, and like they didn't fight as much. So it's like they just tuned in with the nature. Like,
Cuz you didn't really have like television, I assume.
no, we didn't. It was just playing outside, and we would go to the library and get stuff from there. They had
So you're not like totally excommunicated from the community and things like that.
No,
but you're just-
we still had access to like a true value that was also a grocery store, which is pretty weird.
that is weird.
Because I remember I went in there to buy like measuring tape, but it was like a big roll of it, like 500 feet worth. Because a construction guy told me, he was like, "Oh, you should measure this and this to figure out like how you're gonna put it in your water." And I'm over here like, why am I even doing this? Because like I can't even realistically start this. But I kind of just was still in like the motions of, yeah, maybe we can build this with our hopes and dreams only.
I can tell you that probably that whole project, I would have been freaking out had I been in your shoes. I'm a planner. I gotta organize everything that I do, and to the nth degree. I'm maybe not like the craziest person, but I think you guys all know I'm a pretty organized dude. Like I like to, for a long time it was poker nights and making sure everybody's over and here's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna have these events and we're gonna have these parties and we want everybody to participate in them. And like, if somebody was just like, if Jesi was just like, we're selling the house today, get what you can in 30 minutes or less, and we're moving out to the woods to live in a camper off the grid. And if I had no choice in it, I would just be sweating fucking bullets. Because I know she wouldn't do that for real, but I'm just saying, like, in this scenario, like, I know you guys wanted to do it. So, okay, post-mortem, you're already done. You've had that experience. Is that something you want to venture into again in the future, possibly?
Not to that degree. Like, I'm kind of like, I want to have like chickens, and because we had chickens for a bit. It was great. Like we had our own eggs, like at one of the houses I lived in.
You like eggs a lot.
Oh yeah, it's.
Did you eat the chickens too? Did you slaughter them? And
actually, we took them with us to the land, and then we sold them to some guy over there because it was getting cold out there. I'm like, I can't take care of these chickens out here. They're just gonna die.
Yeah, they need like a place where they can stay warm during the winter.
Some farmer guy out there got chickens and gave us a little bit of money to live a little bit longer.
Was it Anthony? Oh,
no.
My chickens.
My chickens. Yeah,
That dude's awesome. That's a really interesting story. I did not realize that you lived like off the grid like that. And for a month, that's a long time. That's like a 30-day camping trip.
Yeah, it was a learning experience in so many ways because I've just always had, I guess part of my character development is like speaking up more. I realistically should have spoke up much sooner.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I'm just like going along with my.
You were trying to make her happy.
I was trying to make everybody happy. And I should have, because we had a friend involved and she was a little bit more of the driving force. And I guess we were just putting a little bit too much. Banking too much on that, but I mean, everybody, including our friend, is in a much better place now because our friend has this really wonderful idea. She wants to make off-grid communities for people that, like, for foster kids, because she was a foster kid and she just went through the system and it's terrible. But she knows all these things that would actually help foster kids. So she's like, oh, we could have a community gardening and, different, therapists and Reiki people and all that stuff. And she actually has friends with people who can, like, get her grants and funds to make these things happen. So she has... And she's like taking steps. Like, this is a thing. I could see it becoming a reality in the next few years. We just kind of had a rough testing phase where we're like, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, oh, I destabilized our entire family to do this. This is not good. Let me just, we'll separate those two ideas for now. Mm-hmm. We'll do something a little more grounded next time. So,
well, that's really cool. I'm glad you shared that story. So we are at 2 hours. We've been sitting here talking. Maybe it feels like longer, maybe shorter. I know Tommy wanted to maybe do a little fire dancing. Did you still want to go outside and do a little bit of that?
I have enough fuel to do like one spin.
Have you seen him do his fire dance? Do you have a few minutes to see him?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we conclude this? And I thought it was a great conversation. We shared a lot of laughs. But like, no, I mean, I learned some more about really everybody from, I know a lot about you, babe. So when I don't know, you didn't say anything too groundbreaking for me, but But Heather's like story about
the zoo.
The zoo was really cool, and then Tommy's story about living off the grid, and then all the other just like his
The
like stories.
in-between.
It was really good convo. And Heather, I hope you enjoyed like the first session. So